Hello and welcome to PlayStation Racer. My name is Mitchell Morgan and today we are heading off to Germany again for another World Circuit race. This is going to be at the Nürburgring GP circuit, but before we do that I'm going to drop into the race difficulty to double check that we are on the hard settings, which we are, and those are the settings that we're using for all of the World Circuit races. Now, so we're going to head across to the Nürburgring. We've got a few races to do here, but today is going to be the World Touring Car 600. I'm going to choose the Aston Martin, and you can see there the suspension differential, but I've had to adjust the output to 83, the ballast to 200 and the power restrictor to 83 to bring this car down to 600 performance points. I could have gone with a different car, but I quite fancied the Aston Martin for this particular one, and yeah, this one worked for me quite nicely. So this is the World Touring Car 600, 5 laps of the Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit. Let's get into the video. So the first thing I'm going to do is just cycle through and check. We don't have to worry at all about any fuel or tyres. This is just a straightforward sprint. So I'm going to assume that nobody is pitting in this particular race, and we're going to have to get our way through this traffic from last to first without any strategy, just a straightforward sprint. I much prefer the ones with the strategies. It does make you think a little bit more, but quite a few of these World Circuit races are just out and out line to line sprints. So we've just gone past the Porsche 911, then we do the Subaru WRX on the inside of that particular corner. I will go through the braking zones and gears that I'm using, but of course you can always pause, rewind, slow down the video to check those for yourself. That's the Nissan GTR done as well, so that's 3 cars overtaken within the first couple of corners, and then we head down to this tight, almost hairpin right-hander, getting it slowed down into second gear to tuck in behind Yamanaka there. We've got Grady in front of us. Can we get up the outside? Yes we can, but we do need to sweep across without taking the front of his car off, down to the fourth, grab a load of this curve to go over the top, looking for the green area just to use some of that on the way through there as we go up the gears into fourth. At the beginning of that green area we're just going to slow it down into second. Sometimes we do that in third, but second because we needed to overtake the Viper, which we do quite nicely. Looked like the Viper was going to come back at us, but we got away with that, and that puts us up into 10th place already. And we're only halfway round lap number 1 at the moment. This is the chicane that you really need to get right as much as possible. I tend to brake where that little grey bit of curb chinks out to the right hand side and just go through the chicane doing second. You can take an awful lot of the curb through there, but I tend to find that very often unsettles my car too much, so I tend to be a little bit more conservative than most through there. That works with the AI. Obviously if you're racing real people you're going to need to take more of the curbs. So if you come down into the first corner, I'm looking for the 50-meter board, or the beginning of that curb, which is a little bit before the 50-meter board. So at the beginning of the curb down into second, and you're watching for the inside of that particular corner with the bump, and then up into third through here, being careful not to drift too wide, but using that right hand side curb. You're then down into second gear and watching for the apex of this inside. I've got the Jaguar to negotiate as well, but you can take loads of the inside of that curb. You can almost hit the wall going through there. You can take a lot of curb, which will enable you to get up the inside of people. The Jaguar's coming back at us halfway down that little stretch there where there's a bit of tarmac off to the right is where we will need to brake, and then down into second gear for this one, and then get on the power as quickly as you can and up through the gears as you run down here. Again, we're looking for a little bit of tarmac on the left hand, a little bit of grass on the left hand side there, rather than tarmac. It's a little bit of grass between the little grey concrete areas, and then get that down into second gear for the turn. For this one we want to get up onto the curb, and then where you see those black marks is just get it down to the fourth gear and turn, and then use the green Astro, as I said, to get through that curb going up through fourth gear. The Hurricane's going away from us a bit at the moment, but we're just going to try and get around the outside of these cars, tuck in behind the AMG. Can we get an overtake done on the inside here? He gets ever so wide, opens the door, and we can actually put the car up the inside, but the AMG is so much quicker than us through there. He's actually going away from us. We can catch up a little bit as he slows down just midway through the corner, moving out to the right, braking again, as I said, just where that little kink is in the concrete on the right hand side, down into second gear for the chicane. And then as we come up here, we're looking for just to get around here in second. I don't really have a braking point for that particular corner. Some people talk about a little bit of grass there, but I never managed to catch that when I'm driving. So again, that one tends to just be a little bit more of feel as you're running up from the chicane. So again, I'm just watching for the beginning of the curb there, braking down into second gear, watching the bump on the way through. I just needed to leave a little bit of space because I wasn't quite sure how close the Lamborghini was to us. Third gear through here, being careful not to run too wide. Sometimes I do get it out onto the green, but that's okay. Down into second gear, trying to watch for the apex, not quite pick that up. And then here you can take low to the curb, as I did there, to get me on the back of the Alfa, using the outside of the curb just to make that move done. Hopefully we'll be able to see him in the mirrors. No, he's coming back at us. We've had to take a slightly different line through that corner. Still going third gear, but getting a slow down into second for this one. And that's the Alfa done. And then we want to get on the back of this blue car as soon as we can. So watching for that little bit of green between the concrete, so that bit there is where we want to brake. Down into second gear for a bit of rotation to get up the inside of the Honda. Unfortunately, we did collect the back of the Honda, which was really unfortunate. That upset our car. I've let him through because that was not a fair overtake. I really wasn't happy with that, but then we can get the overtake done as we run through here anyway. I'm just trying to practice letting people through when I have caught them, because I am going to be going online with real world people very, very soon racing. And if you do have a bump like that and you haven't meant to do it, you do want to put your hazard lights on, apologise, let them through. So it's just one of the things I'm starting to try and get used to right now. You can take a load of the curb through this corner. It's just completely flat. As you're coming up to this corner, just watching for where the tarmac changes, and then just after that you can see on the right hand side that the grey part of the concrete just has a little kink in it. That's where I brake. And again here, I guess it's sort of round about that sort of browny grassy area where I start to brake, but you'll notice as we go through the laps here that I'm picking different braking zones all the time through there. So this is fourth lap. We've got the fastest lap of a 2:12. We've done 2:08, 2:13, 2:12, so that's not too bad. Running in fourth place at the moment with 2 laps to run to catch Fraga in front, who is a massive 9 seconds down the road. So we are going to need to step this up a little bit, and as I start to push harder, you can see I'm using more and more of the track, including the green part of the track there. Gone a little bit deep through that one and using all of that curb, coming really wide on there, just trying to get the power down as soon as we can and try and get on the back of Kokubun and Hizal in front of us. So third gear through here, just going down to second to get rotation through here. I should have gone out a little bit more to the left hand side, which will enable me to carry a little bit more speed through there. Stay to the left through here, looking for that little green area of grass right there. Bury the brake pedal down into second gear, looking for the apex, so sweeping across the track. Just let that run. This corner goes on and on and on, so don't put the power down too soon, but get it down as soon as you can. Fourth gear through this one, using the curb on the left hand side, sweeping across to use the curb on the right hand side. So use all of it on the left and then all of it on the right. Get across to the right hand side, bury the brake pedal, down into third. I ran a little bit deep on there because either I left my braking a little bit too late or I was in a bit of slipstream style air for Kokubun in front of us. But that has set us up quite nicely now. Are they going to slow down through here? Are they going to be full pelt? A little flash of the rear brake lights there, but they really didn't catch them at all very much. But we will catch them under braking into the chicane. We do one of the cars jumping across the chicane, taking the same sort of line that the Subaru in front took. Again, I don't tend to like jumping those corners in the chicane too much, but you can see that very often you need to. So as you come across the line to start the final lap, we are still 4 seconds behind Fraga out in front, and we now drop down into 4th gear as Kokuban comes by. So we need to try and do him under braking, which we managed to do using all of the gears and everything to try and slow it down, gone a little bit deep. We need to get on the back of this Subaru. Both the Subaru and I are catching Fraga out front, so this is game on. We actually know, you know that I'm going to get the gold in this one, but at this stage I really didn't have a clue whether I was going to get gold. So I was really pushing, threw it down the inside of the Subaru there to try and get that done. And here just leaving the braking as late as possible, just getting it turned in. 2nd gear through here, and we've caught up with Fraga quite nicely, but we are getting to a very fast part of the course where that Subaru is likely to go away from us. So I really need to close up here, down into 2nd gear for some rotation, gone a little bit wide. So we need to get back on the power as soon as we can. Can we pick up a little bit of slipstream? We are 0.8 of a second behind, still posting purple times. I'm actually quite impressed with my times. We've got a 2:13, a 2:12 and a 2:12. So that's quite nice as we get onto the back of Fraga. Oh, throwing it up the inside, that's going to put us way deep into that corner, which is going to enable him to come back through, which he does, but we can get it up the inside. Not taking any prisoners here, just trying everything in the book to get this move done. Another purple sector, but that Super is coming back at us. Oh, he gives us a nudge on the way through there. I don't think I really closed the door on him. It was my corner, and he really possibly shouldn't have been putting his nose up the inside there. That's put him well off the back of us, which is giving us a nicer run through the chicane and then around the last corner, and then it's a straight drag to the line, and I think with 1.5 seconds we are far enough ahead. So a little bit unfortunate that Fraga tried to throw it up the inside. I think that was a bit of a dive bomb. The door was closed, he came off worst. But we did manage to get that race won by 1.3 seconds. Almost sure that isn't going to be a clean race, which is a real disappointment, which it isn't. But that is gold, and that is what these videos are all about. So that is how I did the World Touring Car 600 at the Nürburgring on the Grand Prix circuit. The Aston Martin's really nice around here. It's nicely balanced, it's nice to drive. It gets the power down quite nicely, so yeah, very often I'll be running with the BMW VGT, but that Aston definitely car of choice for this particular one. It's a lovely looking car, handles really nicely, and we got that race won fairly easily. A little bit of luck at the end where Fraga tried to throw it up the inside and couldn't quite make the move, so I felt a little bit lucky in some respects. But happy with that one. So I hope that you found this video useful. If you have, then please hit the thumbs up button because it really helps the channel. If you're new around here, please hit the subscribe button to support me. It would be very much appreciated. And if you're a current subscriber, thank you ever so much for continuing to support my channel. It's very much appreciated. In the meantime, I'll look forward to seeing you back with another video coming very soon. For now, take care. Bye bye.